Okay, because I've got the new all parts piece that fits, I'm going to have to re-drill those two holes because I've filled the others in. I'm going to go and do that now, and it takes 2 minutes, so see you in a moment. Okay, and if we look at the all parts ring, you should look at his ring. I don't want to. One of the things you have to do is take these two holes here, this one and this one, and drill them out a bit bigger. You'll notice my original screw from Fender fitted good after I drilled it, and these ones are still slightly tight. They'll be okay when they go in, but it's another story. Lastly, the two screw scenario. You look at those two. That's from Fender. That's from Fender. Yeah, good figure. Let's get rid of them two. I have my own proper Fender screws. Nice. And my old parts piece there. And we're all ready to fit that onto that. I'll get the other bits out and we'll just screw it together. Well, simply, what you want to do is you want this coming down, not up, because the way out for the wiring is that away, and you want that like that. I like to keep these all close together and sort the cabling now. Right, so it's all pretty simple really. Got these two screws. This has got to go through here. Nice, it fits like that. We can put these in first. Just screw these in. Maybe this one they're all the way in. It should be good. You can see that. And they should just rotate. That's great. Same with the other one. So there they are in there, and we'll just put these on the bottom. Notice it doesn't give us much room to play. In fact, it doesn't give us any room to play with those epoxy screws. Look at that. I hate it, don't you? I'm going to just trim that back a little bit so we can at least get the screws in. Hold on. Okay, so I trimmed off that little bit there, just enough to make the thing fit. What we need to do when we're screwing these in is to just start them like just a little bit. Same on both ends. You don't have to go berserk. Just screw them so that, at the moment, so the pickup's just through a little bit. I would say that's about it. Just three. Okay, well, it's a simple matter to fit your pickup. Here's the pickup we just did. And what we've got to do is get the wires at the end here through a pretty awkward hole down there. It's just there. Okay, so I'm going to struggle the wire through now and feed it out the back, and then we'll fit the pickup. Now it can be a bit fiddly to get that wire through into the control cavity, especially on these rear rooted things. I had a bit of trouble on the front rooted as well actually, so what I tend to do is to use a little piece of wire, pull that through first, tape it all up, and then just yank it through. Comes through great. There you go. That should basically just slither into place exactly where we want it, and we're in business. There you have it, two screws, away we go. So I'll just fit the two screws now, and I'll have a look around the back. And there's the pickup in place just before we go any further. It looks cool. It's even straight. Yeah, don't get your pickup angled, as it looks really stupid. Duh. And there's a quick shot of the pickup wire we just installed. This one's off the bridge. There's the little ground wire we spoke about earlier on. So we're all ready to proceed. So I'm just going to wrap that round as I do for now. Push that in the back too. I'm back. I never went anywhere, just a different day. Look, t-shirt's gone. Don't worry, I don't. Okay, we've got to fit one of these things. You know what it is, it's the input jack. I had mine drilled out at the back here. I think it's a 7/8 inch hole. It's about the right size to me. Anyway, this is the one. So I put the 2 wires on. I hope you know how that goes, it's easy enough. I might just show you a little bit of a close-up before we fit it. And then we're going to bang it in this hole in the end here. And away we go. It's all very simple. You can see that the black goes to this centerpiece. And the white, which is the hot wire, goes to this one that's stuck between the 2 isolating pieces. So it is, black to the inside one, it goes to there. You can't get the other one wrong really. Let's fit it. Now looking at the end of the guitar, I've got a pretty good idea where it fits. There it is, and there's the piece. So what we want to do is just feed them 2 through. Don't worry where they go for now. Now what I do when I fit these, I don't really like to fit it this way because you haven't really got as much wood going that way or this way. So I like to tend to put it sort of actually about like that. Right? You can see that. And all we do, pop a screw in there, pop a screw in there, and we're in business. And there it is, fitted with its screws. Like I said, off centre. Don't keep it centre. I'm back. Actually, I never went anywhere. I'm like that. You look at the shirt. I've got a new one. Oh, I keep getting these things. Don't you like them? I think they're great. Anyway, let's get back to the guitar. Where have I been? Well, when I bought a piece I'm going to fit in here, a Toneshaper, I bought it and it didn't fit. Now it is a Telecaster one, but not as we know it. Well, it's actually a Telecaster one as we know it, but this is a Telecaster not as we know it. So it didn't fit. So I had a word with the man over at Toneshapers, great guy named George, great company as well. They actually want to help you. Isn't that, that's a change, isn't it? Well, I had a word with George because I had 2 of these kits. Don't ask me why, it's just I wanted stereo. And he sent me 2 bits and another bit over that helped me convert one of them to fit the guitar, which I think is a great thing really. Let's zoom in close and just show you the differences for the before and the after. It's a bit like me with the shirt and without. Hold on. Now then, here we are. Well, this is a Toneshaper for a Telecaster, you can see it. Oh, I've got a little wooden thing, look, that's good, isn't it? But the problem is, you know, when you fit these to a Telecaster, they have that little thin plate on the front, don't they? And they just mount into a little bit of metal. And that's, if you look down here, you can see there's not actually that much thread. There's enough for the plate that they're supposed to go on, but unfortunately there isn't enough for this new Telecaster over there. So, well, what did we do really? Let's have a look at the other one. Well, this big fat one doesn't even want to stay up by itself, but let's bend it round so you can see. You can see there's a bit of a marked difference on this one, on these threads, compared to that one. It's marked alright, it's half an inch deeper. It makes a hell of a difference, especially when you're doing that body over there that's you know, rerouted. What happens if you try and use this one? There's no threads. It doesn't work basically. So I had to change this pot and change this pot, which I did, as you can see, and I had to do another couple of little bits as well. Let's go and have a look at what else is needed. Well, what have we here? Well, that's the switch. Now it's a 4-way switch. But what's important about it isn't that it's a 4-way switch, because you could use a 3-way or whatever you want, really, I guess 5-way. But it's the length of these wires. Because we're taking the board and stepping the board back by this amount, these wires aren't long enough. So here's mod number 2. You can see, well, if you look really carefully, you can see that the wires on this one are a little bit longer than the wires on that one. Got it? So remember, rear out, long shafts, long wires. That's the difference. But on the website, George didn't actually have this by default. Now, I guess you can go on there and you can customize what you want, and I'm sure that George Allerton, I think it is, he'll, fix you up with whatever you need. I'm sure of that. These things are fantastic units that I'm going to talk about in a little while, once we get it all fitted. For changing switches and all sorts of things, different pots and just at the flick of a switch. Fantastic. Used them before. Right, well that looks familiar, doesn't it? This is the rear root of the Super Duper Telecaster. And here's the modified piece that I have. You note I put just one nut, screwed right down, and by the time you fitted it to this, you just got just enough threads to put your washers on and all the other bits and pieces. It's all very good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fit that in there. It's not rocket science. And I'm going to take this and fit this here. I'm not going to do any wiring to the pickups and things yet, but those are the two things I'm going to do, and then we'll move forward from there. Okay, well I just pushed the unit in from the back, and as you can see the threads are just about quite nice for that. What we need is a flat washer and a nut on each one. You don't want to put anything on there like these washers, you don't want them. Got to put them inside, I guess, but not necessary really. Okay, so I'll just fit this and tighten this up now. And there's just a quick shot of them in place. You can see that the shaft just about touches the top of the thread when you get it right. And there's a quick shot of the Toneshaper in place. What I've now got to do is to fit this thing, goes down there and just fastens on, just pushes on onto this connector here. Just before I do go any further, when you're doing a rear rooted job and it's been finished like this, these holes are small for the screws, and what it is this finish gets down in the screw holes, and if you just bang them in there you're going to get cracks and all sorts of rubbish, so you just want to clean them out with a little fine drill. And there's a quick shot of the switch in place. All good. So what we got around the back? Well, we've got a bridge pickup, a neck pickup, and ground wires. And they all fasten, simple as it is, onto this connector here. You just basically push them in and away you go. And the same with the output. You just simply push them in. There's no soldering, anything like that. I'm going to leave these wires long because in case I ever take them out and fit different pickups, or use these for something else, which I recommend you do too, but you might keep this a bit shorter, I don't know. Now taking a quick look at that unit there, you can see all down here what wires go where. It's all very simple. It's as simple as I am. So it must be easy. And when we've done that, we can configure these three here to make this guitar sound very different than what it does by default, if we want to. You can use 500k pots or 250k pots. You can use a load of capacitors and things like that, and you can make the switch do one or two different things than it normally would, which is good. It's already a four-way switch, so it'll be a four-way switch with options, as they say. So let's take a quick look at that. You can always pause the video and away you go. Not easy to read from where I am behind the camera, but I can sort of see them, and I know that you'll be able to see them better because it's being HD closer up than I am. Well, there it is wired into place. Didn't really take me that long. Got your bridge and your neck pickups coming in there. And don't forget that little wire that also comes off the bridge for grounding up there. Well, what have we got? Well, we've got a little wire that comes off the bridge for grounding. We've also got the jack negative and hot. The white ones are hot. Then we move on to this pickup. We've got an unshielded wire and a green that goes to ground, and we've got the black wire which is hot, just there, and the same here for the neck, green and unshielded and black. And that's that simple. There's no soldering. You can solder the ends if you want to make them a bit nicer before you fit them in there, but it makes a little difference really. The only other thing in the back really now is to set the switches, which I'm going to do in a second, and just point out that this battery box was actually fitted for, in case I fit EMGs or something later on and change all this. You don't get two opportunities to do that, and I think the charge is about $15 to route it, so it's worth its weight. That's what you should do. So leave the wires in there, does no harm. Okay, well now I'm going to have a look at the switches, and we'll talk about that a little, and then I'll just set them up. Well, one of the things about the Toneshaper for this guitar is it's going to make this guitar do things that you would never be able to do without it. Well, not so easily to change without it, let's put it that way. You could do those things, but not all of the things so easily. You just flick a switch and away it goes. This is fantastic. I did one of these on a Strat just over there actually, and use it all the time. It's great, especially rear-rooted. Better. That was front mount on a scratch plate pick guard. So this is going to be much easier to change things, and I wanted to do that, you know. Here's the instructions anyway. There's a whole pile of them. They're all provided, and they tell you where to push the wires because there's no soldering. It's all good, just as it always should be. You don't mess around forever, do you? Real thick paper too. Well, anyway, moving on a little bit. They do show you all the switches. Go get your own. They show you all the switches, and you just set the switches accordingly, and away you go. It's George Ellison. He's the man. The man. He'll help you. I know he will. Help me tremendously. So there it is. We can just whiz over here. We've got a load of different things. We've got volume kits, Billy mods, all sorts of things. You won't really care about that unless you buy one. But let's put it this way. You should. There's an easy way to set it up, a hard way to set it up, and off you go. I'm just going to flick a few switches, and you'll be able to have a listen later to determine yourself whether this thing's good. I already know it is, so you'll be able to hear it though. So I'm going to do the switches, and then we're going to carry on doing the build. I'll be able to move forward a bit now. One last thing, just while we're on the unit and its manual, shows you that you can get these. I've got the 4-way one, so you can get all these different combinations of pickups. Really great. You should try one. Anyway, enough of the Toneshaper. Let's move on. Well, I'll give you a quick look in there so you can see where my switches are set, and then you can have a play yourself when you get one, right? Hold on. And there it is. Mine's pretty standard to the manual. Don't be messing around too much. I like to have a telly sounding like a telly personally, but I can do a few extra things, and that's really great. So enough of this frivolousness. I don't really say that. Let's get on with the guitar. Okay, I'm back around the front. I've got one of these white little top hat switches. That's what they call them, top hat. It's not as a Tony Mckenzie hat, but don't worry. Just a different job. Yeah, it's all good. You just take it basically and slither it on the top. Well, you should. You didn't think something like that would catch me out, did you? Whoa! Right in the way into strings. This is one reason why some people change that to being angled like a Strat. Well, what's next? Beginning to get a bit exciting. A couple of knobs. I don't mean the guys who are at work. Here they are. You're just going to go and slither on there. I have a really nice looking Telecaster. Now I could actually still fit that plate over the top to spank things up a bit. I don't know. Maybe we'll come back to that, maybe we won't. But there they are. Genuine Fender for some character on The internet says it's not a real Fender. You've heard them. Punch. Okay, so we've got a load of Fender bits, and we're going to put the Fender bits on the Fender guitar. Let me screw them in place. Oh, just before I do, you'll notice these shafts have got a split in them. Now, I could put something in there to stop them closing up. If you just put this on any other place and tighten them up, what will happen is they'll squash. So you could fill that gap with some metal preferably. Or you could take the screw and just make it fit where the split is, if you've got me. And then, when you do that, it'll force it apart instead of forcing it closed. I think I'll do the easy way. I was going to put metal in, but I couldn't be bothered. Could you? No. Fitting them looks awfully easy. You could just slap them on, screw the screws in, and away we go. Well, if you're going to do that Roy Buchanan thing, you know, with a little finger on the volume pot, which you probably will, I just raise them just a little bit off the surface of the guitar, so they don't actually put little circles around your guitar and cut in. People do that. I mean, if you've never built one before, well, maybe you didn't know that, or you wouldn't know that. They're all simple little things, but they can lead you up the path, so you end up with sort of a bodge. That's the better way. Well, you're not going to believe me, but the Telecaster's getting nearly finished. We've only got a few things to do. Admittedly, there's a bit of setting up. I wouldn't worry about that. I've got some string trees. I have two of them. I always fit them up there because they help, I think. Fender string trees. And I've got a couple of strap locks. All very nice and very good. Screw them in. I'll show you in a bit. We'll come back to them. Maybe we'll come to them last. So, it's time to fit the strings. Now, I do know on this guitar, one of the things I've got to do is to take these little screws out of here on the bridge, in particular the four middle ones, and grind them down a bit because they've raised far too high. Because this is a .720 neck, it's been dropped into the guitar lower. So is everything else. And I need this to be really nice and low. So we're going to get really good action out of this guitar. This is going to be like an awesome lead guitar. But I guess it'll do rhythm too. It might even do some KFC, you know. Chicken picking. We shall see. I'm going to get some strings and just string it up loosely, like you would any old chicken. Well, I hate to say this, but I'm not going to fit Fender strings. What am I going to fit? I'm going to fit Gibson strings. It's a Fender giblet. 9 to 42. That's all that matters to me. The rest, who cares? They're all the same damn thing anyway, aren't they? That'll tell us they're not. So I'm going to fit a set of them on. And I'll have to screw these screws out, grind them down, screw them back in again. Let's get the strings on and then we know how much we've got to take off. By the way, if you live in England, just before I do move on, get a lot of the Fender parts from this guy, First Avenue Guitars in Bradford. John Southwort, First Guitars Co UK. He's okay, and they're the real deal too. I don't like some of them American volume knobs and tone knobs. These come with the screws. That's right rip-off, how it used to be. Okay, well, I've got the strings on all very nice. And I did adjust the bridge downward a little bit. And I'm going to show you how the screws came out, a bit of a close-up in a minute, so that you can see that, you know, they're sort of sticking out by about 1/8 of an inch. They want trimming back by 1/8 of an inch across all of those there. So I'll have to do that. I can't have them sticking in my hand. That's one thing I hate about Fenders. So that's the job to be done. Well, what else? You've got to adjust the string height. Now, depends what you want on this. I like a very, very low action. And with this neck being set in there, you know, there's only so much you can go down on the bridge, but there's still room to maneuver, shall we say, with the way that it's set up, which is good. And I've adjusted the strings so you've got a nice oval on the bridge that matches the neck, and that's very important. So make sure you get that right, won't you? The other thing I did was a thing called intonation, which is a bit scary to some people. Well, it isn't scary. Basically, you connect it up, you put a tuner on, you tune your E string to E, and if you touch it at the 12th fret and plug it again, it should also be an E. Now if it's flat, you move the things forward, and if it's sharp, you move them backward, and eventually you'll have to retune your string each time, and eventually you'll have them like I've got them now, which is pretty simple. I'll show you quickly. Well, you should be able to see from there, we've got a tuner, and if I hit the E string, well, we nearly get an E. I really do want to get it right. That's it. We get an E, and if you touch it at the 12th fret, you also got it. You also get an E, right? And if we'll get an A, we should also get an A, which we do. It drifts up and down a little bit, but it's basically there. D, G, I could adjust it a little bit. It's pretty near, that is. B, B, perfect. And E. So you can see that when you press it down at the 12th fret, it's the same as what you get on a regular E, or should be. Wow. Now here's the bridge I'm talking about. This is a Goto bridge, by the way. If I talked Callahan earlier, I was wrong, it's Goto. But you can see that you've got individual saddles, and they can go backwards and forwards, and up and down. The up and down is really for the sort of height of the strings that you're going to want, which mine are really very low. And this backwards and forwards is for the intonation. But looking at these here, you can see that these screws, because I've adjusted it down a long way, because the neck on this unit is lower than normal, I've got to go and grind these down a bit. Now I don't grind them down here. What I do is take each screw out and grind it down at the bottom, and that way you'll have them just about flush, or just under that surface. Doesn't really make much difference, so they don't dig in your hand. It's a very common problem you get on a lot of Fender type products, where these things stick out and hammer you. Not a good idea. And I'll just show you that neck height in relation to the strings and the pickup height and things like that. Just hold on. Now I do know that you can go and get all the measurements and you know, measure the string height from this to this and from that to that and all the rest of it. Well, I tend not to do that. If you want to know how to do that, look at some of my other videos, which I do talk about that. But go and look at other people on the internet. There's loads of people doing that sort of stuff. It's not so many doing what I do here. So if you take a look at mine, you can see this action is really quite low, but it's got a nice bevel all the way over. Oops, all the way over. And that's how I like it. And I like these things here to be just, you can see there's a fair bit of gap between them. I don't like them too high, I don't like them too low. They're just about right. So look at the neck on the body here. You can see it's set lower than you'd normally expect it to be. And that .720 mod drops this down way into the body. It's a mod that does get done. I don't know how many people do that, but I like to on a guitar that's got a nice top like this one has. And it's got a very nice top and it's got a very nice neck to match. And you can also see, just looking at this, the Strat style pickup and the Telecaster pickup. Now that's not a regular sort of run-of-the-mill Strat pickup. It's supposed to sound like a a Telecaster pickup on steroids, really, so that you don't get an imbalance between these two, and that's a really big common Telecaster problem. I know that I've only ever built one other Telecaster, and I put a standard Telecaster pickup in there, and to be honest it wasn't very good, but this should solve all that. You get that really nice neck tone out of the guitar. Because we've also got, let me move this round, because we've also got 4 ways, that's quite nice too. So we're going to get a load of things going on that we wouldn't normally get on a Telecaster. That was another modification. And of course, round the back, using them there, we've got the Toneshaper, which changes again, it changes what a Telecaster does. Well, there's the neck without the guides on. You can see, maybe you can see, these are quite high. What we really want to do is push them 2 down, so you get a better thing over this piece. And that's what string trees are about. I'm using Fender ones. There they are. Okay, what I do is mark them where I want them. There's a tiny little dot just there, and there's a tiny little dot just there. Now these type of things have actually got 2 hole requirements, one for the screw and one for this little locator here. What I do is tend to do the first hole and then just tighten them in, so you'll see a little indentation where you can just put the little second locator hole. Let me drill the holes. Now if you look carefully, there's a locating hole and there's the screw hole. So I'll fit the tuning. And there's the first string tree in position. Not too difficult really. And there's the second one in place. Okay, well now we're going to put the strap locks on. First thing you've got to do, get rid of this tape. If you look at the back of this body, there's a centre line. Just put this in the middle, like so. Mark where you want it to go, and I want mine about there, which is about the middle as you get. Take your drill. Oh, driller killer. Now hold your guitar and just drill it. Highly likely more than enough. Let's have a look. Easy. Tear that off. Now you can just screw it in there. Let's do that. Need the right screws, of course, and a decent screwdriver. Otherwise, it's all going to go wrong. Or pear-shaped, as they used to say. Well, there it goes. Don't over tighten it, of course. Just a bit to go. Solid. You're going to need to do the same here. One little tip, it's good practice to take a bigger drill and just do this with it, so that you get the finish away from the hole so it doesn't crack. Like so. And there's the strap lock in place. All easy, all simple, anybody could do that, even me. Fancy that. Wow, wasn't that something? Well, I think so. You may not. You may think it's just any old Telecaster. But it isn't. I've yet to fit the back plate, 4 screws. I won't waste my time telling you how to do that, but I did copy the back. And I did make a specification inside, so you know later on what you did. There it is. Let's zoom in a bit. Forget my ugly face. Oh, I'm not sure I can show you like that. You have to be careful. I may slobber down it. Where am I going? Oh, look at that. A fine breed Telecaster if ever there was one. And apart from waiting for the parts, if we take that time out, this was probably built or assembled, as some may say. But you don't assemble houses, do you? This was built in a day. One day. And I think you might be very hard pressed to find another one that's quite like this one. But the price, whoa. Let's put it down a minute. We know when I was making this guitar, I set out to make this one in a different way than the previous Telecaster I'd made. I made a few, they weren't mistakes, but it wasn't quite what I wanted. And I don't think I'll go with the Dot 720. I definitely didn't put this pickup in. I definitely didn't put the Toneshaper in. I definitely didn't use one of these bridges, which I should have done. And really, overall, this fixes all the problems of the previous Telecaster I made, which, by the way, was sold to an absolutely amazing guitarist. I won't tell you who he was, but he's been all over Guitar World and all the rest, and tours all over the show. Awesome guitarist, and what can I say about him? But coming back to this, I think for what we paid and what we've got, no, it's not actually a Fender made by Fender, but it is Fender licensed, completely Fender licensed, I think, basically, except for that, and maybe the pickups and the ring, and apart from that, it's all really Fender parts, or Fender licensed. So I'd say it's about 95% of Fender. But then if you actually look at this guitar, it's about 200% of what Fender isn't. I don't think Fender make guitars quite like this. And if they do, you can mark my words, it'll be double whatever I paid for this. And it's not that expensive. You know, you've got a bit of spare time. This is really worth doing. You have a guitar for life. This one has really, really low fine action. So you can do all that stuff that Jimmy Page did, for example. Or even Roy Buchanan with his little finger. I'm not quite as good as Roy. I'm definitely not as good as Jimmy. But there you go. Oh, and don't forget that that battery box we fitted. Everybody by now will be saying, oh, why did he waste his time doing that? Well, I wasted my time doing it because, honestly, guitar after guitar after guitar, I never got a battery box fitted. I wanted one on the Blue Strat, if you remember the Blue Strat. They didn't bother ream it out or wrote it out or whatever it is they do. That was one of the mistakes Warmouth made. But on this one, they got everything nigh and just right. I wanted it this colour. It matches the other Strat I did called the Greatest Strat in the World, if you haven't seen that video. And if you haven't, go to my channel, Tony Mckenzie. That's quite cool, and it matches very nicely, gold parts and all the rest. What more can I say? Oh, I know what I can say. I can say if you're 39 or over, which a lot of guys are, according to YouTube, unless you're lying about your ages, boys. Go and get checked for prostate cancer, because you can mark my words, it will change your life if you don't. Well, you won't have a life. You'll be dead. Belly up. I could say a lot of other things, but I had it done and I'm still here, look. Unfortunately for you, I'm still here. So you really want to go and get that checked out. I mean, what's a finger between friends? Now lastly, as always, don't forget to go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/TonyMcKenzie.com, no dot, or my website, www.TonyMcKenzie.com, like the hat, that's why I wear it really, and you'll find far more on there. In fact, this is going to be written up on there. There's a lot of other things I've just completed. I'm waiting for some more things to arrive, like a GP10S, which would be a nice review, as opposed to the GT-001. Should have been 007, that one. Anyway, that's it. Hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a great task doing this one, and I really enjoyed building this guitar. Like some of the others, maybe not. This one came out okay in the end. Rock and roll. See you again.